My name is Joanna Dickinson, and I work for a New Life Counseling Agency in Cutoff. Trauma is the collective term we use for an event or series of events that are disturbing and are painful enough to cause physical, psychological, or emotional harm. Trauma can also be used to describe a span of time in which someone's safety needs and means to survive were not met. For everyone residing in our Bayou region, we all experienced the collective trauma that was Hurricane Ida and the long-standing impact it has on us to this day. Other examples of trauma include, but are not limited to, physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional trauma, natural disasters, car accidents, deaths, loss, medical crisis, homelessness, extreme poverty, and bullying. Life after trauma is possible, but it is important to note that life may never look the same afterwards. The following information on your brain and trauma is taken from Dr. Jennifer Sweden. Dr. Sweden is a Stanford-educated clinical and forensic psychologist specializing in trauma, treatment, and the neuroscience of mental health. Approximately 50% of the population will experience a trauma event at some point in their lives. As we said earlier in our introduction, if you live here through the storm, you have trauma, loss, and grief. Reactions to traumatic events vary widely, meaning all people don't respond the same. Everyone responding differently to trauma is okay and normal. Trauma and PTSD can change the brain in predictable ways, and knowing that can help you be aware of what's going on in your brain. At times, trauma can make you feel crazy, but knowing your brain is altered can help you realize you are not crazy, just suffering some of the side effects of a traumatic event. There is hope. Just as your brain was traumatized, it can heal. Your brain is like a big file cabinet. Trauma is often stored in the front file because your brain says this is important to keep me alive. Through therapy, we try to get your brain to move the trauma to the old history file in the back of your brain so it can rest. This can be done. I've seen it happen many times. Trauma can alter brain function in many ways, but three of the most important changes seem to occur in the following areas: the prefrontal cortex, called the thinking center, the anterior cingulate cortex, the emotional regulation center, and the amygdala, the fear center. The brain is fascinating in the way it works. In the traumatized brain, instead of these centers working together in control and regulation, the thinking center and the emotional center are underactivated, and the fear center is overactivated. Remember, your brain was given to you to keep you alive, so its primary focus from primitive times is to warn you of danger. Your brain will continue to keep you on high alert, which can look like chronic stress, hypervigilance, fear, and even irritation to keep you safe. It does not recognize the event that caused this is over. It wants you to be aware of danger. After a while of living with a traumatized brain, you will recognize you are tired. You will still probably realize the emotional center and the thinking center are off, so you have trouble thinking and regulating your emotions. What can you do to help this? The great thing about the brain is it wants to regulate. Often people can heal from trauma and PTSD if they get help. Changing your brain takes effort, repetition, and time. Here are 3 things that you can do to help yourself or someone you love experiencing trauma. The best gift you can give yourself is therapy with someone who specializes in trauma and PTSD. The person should use evidence-based practices that change the brain by working with both the mind and the body. If you live in Lower Lafourche, that can be hard to find. Even finding a therapist who is willing to learn, research, and study trauma is good. I started studying trauma and the brain to help a friend and give guidance. Number 2, add body-based or mindfulness techniques to your daily routine. I use a breathing app called I Breathe with many of my clients. Grounding techniques are also very helpful. All a grounding technique does is to get you out of your head and into the here and now. You can actually Google 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding and see a great example. Number 3, retelling your trauma story. This should be done in therapy. This is a way that the therapist helps your brain move the file from the front cabinet to the back drawer. If a child ages 2 through 10 is suffering, the appropriate therapy is play therapy. Kids do not have the skills to put words around what is happening. In a child's economy, play is work. Everything they are going through will come out in the playroom. They may be angry, and that might come out as rough or messy play. They will work through stuff if they are given time and tools to heal. Often what I find is people who have suffered a trauma don't want to deal with it. They try to forget it. When we try to forget something that our brain thinks is vitally important to keep us safe, it keeps reminding us. We have to go through it to give our brain the chance to rest. Reach out for help. It's totally worth it.